Disclaimer. The video serves informational and entertainment purpose only. The content is considered speculative and should not be treated as confirmed fact. We encourage you to conduct your research and form your conclusion. They called it a dream, a fairy tale brought to life for a new generation. But what began as Disney's ambitious return to a beloved classic has spiraled into an unprecedented disaster, leaving a trail of broken box office records, brutal critic reviews, and a central figure who has seemingly collapsed under the weight of it all. We're talking about Snow White and Rachel Zegler. Her movie just scored a shocking 2.3 out of 10 on IMDb, the lowest ever for a Disney princess film. This isn't just a flop, besties. This is a cultural collapse, a brand catastrophe so profound that whispers are already swirling about the movie being pulled early from theaters due to empty seats. But here's where it gets chilling. Rachel Zegler, the 23-year-old who went from unknown teenager to Golden Globe winner, allegedly broke down on the set of Evita, collapsing while performing one of musical theater's most demanding roles. Reports had already hinted at mental strain, with Rachel reportedly seeking therapy after the Snow White flop. What really happened on that set? A performance that started with such power, with her voice literally shaking the air, ended with Rachel walking off set in tears on what was the last day of filming Snow White. She broke down completely and left the scene. This wasn't just about one bad day. This has been building for months. And the reasons, my friends, might just shock you to your core. Was this the inevitable consequence of non-stop pressure, crushing online criticism, or something far more sinister unfolding behind the persona? What could have gone so wrong, and who's truly behind all this chaos?
To do what we do and to make movies, but I love it so much because I get to see you guys. And I'm really, really thankful that so many of you have been with us for 3 summers, and if you were here for 2 or just back for this one, you're part of such an important family to me, and this has been such a hard, wonderful journey, and I'm so thankful to have been on it with you all. So thank you.
You have a terrible audition experience.
I do have a terrible audition experience. I was actually, oddly enough, auditioning for a Broadway show of a very famous Broadway musical that was having a revival, and the producers and directors were ordering lunch while I was singing.
What?
It was so
like,
horrible.
Actually, while you were singing a song?
Yeah.
Hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
she's a good actress,
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see me.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Sounds like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler, as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White...
Imagine it. Just a few years ago, Rachel Zegler was touted as the future of musical cinema. Discovered by Steven Spielberg himself, she skyrocketed from an unknown teenager to a household name with West Side Story, grabbing a Golden Globe in the process. This was the unseen beginning of a fairy tale, a true Cinderella story where raw talent met unparalleled opportunity. She was Disney's chosen one, the face of their next generation of princesses, stepping into the iconic shoes of Snow White, a role meant to be her crowning moment, a billion-dollar legacy reboot. The pressure, however, was immeasurable. She was carrying the weight of an entire legacy, expected to seamlessly blend tradition with a modern vision. But something shifted. The once harmonious narrative began to fray, and public perception, often a star's greatest ally, started to turn into her fiercest enemy. Was it the roles she chose, or was it something else? Something rooted in her own actions and words. The cultural stakes here are enormous. This isn't just about a movie, it's about fan betrayal, industry chaos, and the very definition of a star's legacy. As the world watched her every move, waiting for her to stumble, the pressure became unbearable. Was this constant online criticism, the non-stop demand for perfection, truly driving her to the brink? The tension builds, palpable and crushing, as we begin to see the cracks forming behind the persona of Hollywood's rising star. The stage is set for a monumental clash, one that will determine if her tale ends in triumph or in a heartbreaking fall. And then, the explosion hit. The gradual, sudden shift in public sentiment wasn't just a ripple anymore. It was a tsunami of backlash that crashed over Rachel Zegler. What ignited this inferno? Her own words. During the Snow White press tour, Zegler took a bold stance, publicly calling the original Disney classic Weird Weird, and its beloved prince a stalker. She proudly declared her version wouldn't be about true love, but about becoming a leader. This wasn't just a critique. To many, it was a perceived insult to a cherished legacy. Suddenly, the X versus Y setup was clear. It was loyal fans versus the rebooted star. Her seemingly preachy energy and condescending tone on press tours, initially dismissed by some, now became damning evidence behind the persona. Audiences felt betrayed. The internet exploded with side-by-side comparisons, TikToks mocking her attitude, and furious discussions about Disney straying too far. This wasn't just about a bad movie. It was a movie that allegedly insulted its own foundation, and she was the one holding the mic when it happened. The consequences were immediate and brutal. When Snow White finally hit theaters, it didn't just flop. It bombed harder than a middle school science project. Reports of a measly $12 million opening weekend, worse than the Marvels and Dumbo, movies that lost Disney hundreds of millions, sent shockwaves through the industry. Even mainstream media openly called it a woke flop, with one headline declaring it garbage. This was no longer just about personal remarks. It was about hypocrisy on a grand scale. A star seemingly disconnected from the very audience she was supposed to entertain, causing an unmitigated disaster that echoed far beyond the box office. The silence from Disney was deafening, but their next move would speak volumes, and it would make Rachel Zegler's situation far worse.
On East Houston.
Amelia's Gelato?
Gelato.
So I actually met Rachel Zegler in New York after her Broadway show performing Romeo and Juliet, and let me just say I have a couple opinions on her after meeting her in person. First, I will say I completely understand how people took what she said about Snow White and how she promoted that and just took it negatively, because I did too. Like, I genuinely did not like the way that she was talking about her character and stuff, but I have to say that in person, oh my god, she is so sweet, and not only that, she is ridiculously talented. Like, in that show, her singing actually blew me away. I've never heard anyone sing that well in person. I can't explain it. It was just amazing. I know there are some clips on TikTok where people secretly record the show. I highly recommend you guys go watch that, because her riffs were insane, and she only had like one singing part, but that was my favorite part of the entire show. She is genuinely really talented and a nice person. I just think that the way that she talks and the way that she presents herself to the camera does not always bode well with people.
And then, the damning evidence began to emerge, forming a chilling collage of a star's rapid descent. While the box office numbers screamed failure, Disney made a move so subtle, so insidious, that it went largely unnoticed by mainstream media, yet sent shockwaves through the online world. This was the digital disappearance. Suddenly, the Snow White movie tile vanished from Disney+. Not listed, not coming soon, no trailer, no banner. It was as if the film itself was being erased. But the horror didn't stop there. Fans, meticulously scouring the platform, discovered something far more disturbing. Rachel Zegler's own Disney Plus actor profile was gone. No mention, no credits, not even a placeholder. Screenshots flooded Reddit, before and after comparisons showing her name scrubbed clean from the actor index. Some found her profile in other regions, only for it to lead to blank pages. Just like that, a Disney princess was being digitally executed, silently, without a single explanation. The reaction was a furious mix of confusion and suspicion. Why remove any trace? What are they hiding? Disney's silence was deafening, refusing to respond to major entertainment blogs. This wasn't just damage control. It was an act of quiet dissociation, a corporate strategy to pretend a toxic asset simply never happened. This mirrors the Gina Carano playbook. No public firing, just a clean sweep. Zegler, meanwhile, remained conspicuously silent, offering no answers to the growing allegations, contributing to the chilling perception that she wasn't just having a rough year, she was being removed. Even more unsettling, rumors then surfaced that she had fired her entire team, manager, agent, publicist, around the same time her digital presence vanished. It was a chaotic info storm, painting a portrait of a star utterly alone, her fairy tale turning into a real-life nightmare. And here, we witness the crushing irony, a haunting twist that only Hollywood can deliver with such brutal precision. Rachel Zegler, once touted as the radiant future of Disney princesses, now finds herself at the heart of a chilling retirement riddle, one not born of her own choosing, but seemingly imposed by the very studio that once crowned her. Her digital disappearance from Disney+, the quiet scrubbing of her profile, the vanishing act from promotional materials. This wasn't a sudden public firing. This was a surgical erasure, a strategic pulling of the plug designed to minimize fallout without admitting a single thing. The irony, besties, is deafening. For a company built on perfect images and flawless illusions, when those illusions crack, they don't fix them. They simply replace them. Rachel Zegler didn't vanish overnight with a dramatic headline. Instead, she became the subject of a terrifyingly quiet, insidious process that only happens in the deepest corners of Hollywood PR. One missing tile at a time, one silent decision at a time, she was erased. The studio that once branded her as the face of their future now won't even acknowledge her name on their flagship platform. This is the ultimate corporate move. When a project or a star becomes too toxic to touch, the safest, most subtle move is to pretend they never happened. This unfolding aftermath also saw her highly anticipated Broadway debut in Evita reportedly implode, with whispers of chaos and her being uncoachable. The contrast behind the persona between her public image and these alleged private actions is stark. Disney, the ultimate puppet master of its brand, simply made her disappear. Her silence, her alleged firing of her entire team, it all screams a desperate loss of control. The fairy tale is over, and the happily ever after, it's been quietly canceled, but the final haunting question remains. Is this the end of her story, or just the silent prelude to something even more drastic?
To do with Gal Gadot calling out Rachel Zegler and putting her in the hot seat, as well as Disney when bringing up the production issues for Snow White. Now, Gal delivered the following: the most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork, and when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process, and I just found that to be very exhausting. When you are acting, you expect your co-stars and the creatives to go all the way and to support each other, and we just didn't meet those expectations.
So, besties, here we stand at the crossroads of Rachel Zegler's career, watching an unfolding aftermath far more complex than a simple box office flop. She broke down on Evita's set, faced allegations of demanding script rewrites for a historical musical, and saw her public image shattered by her own viral interviews. This isn't just about bad press. It's about a deeper war in Hollywood, a battle between preserving cultural legacies and forcing modern ideologies onto beloved stories. Rachel Zegler, whether by her own ambition or as a pawn of the puppet masters behind the scenes, has become the lightning rod for this conflict. To some, she's a pioneer, bravely reshaping narratives. To others, she's the face of everything they can't stand: the performative activism, the sanitized storytelling, the erasure of historical nuance. Her career, once skyrocketing, now feels like a retirement riddle, a gradual fade to black orchestrated by unseen forces when a star becomes a liability. The stage is set, but the future remains unknown. Will Rachel Zegler double down, becoming the permanent poster child for Hollywood's cultural overhaul? Or will she, perhaps, listen to the rising voices of the fans, the cast and the crew, urging her to respect what came before? Because this isn't just about Evita or Snow White. It's about whether the stories we pass down still belong to us, the audience, or just the politics of the moment. So tell me, do you think Rachel Zegler's rewrite demands were justified? Or has Hollywood finally gone too far? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story, besties, is far from over. And that's the tea for today, my little gossip gremlins. If you enjoyed this drama buffet, don't forget to hit that like button like it's your ex's new partner's Instagram. Aggressively and with zero shame. Beauty. Subscribe to Fame Files so you never miss a single scandal, meltdown, or red carpet disaster. I'm literally serving up hot gossip every single day, even if my Wi-Fi begs me to stop. And listen, be a doll and tap that bell too, okay? Because your girl Macy's got bills to pay, celeb egos to roast, and a grocery cart full of overpriced almond milk that won't buy itself. Shopping cart money. So until next time, stay nosy, stay fabulous, and remember, I spill it so you don't have to sip in silence. Bye.